minutes, 24 points from Embiid. Hit some clutch free throws late. Philly fell to the 8th seed without him. Play-in territory. Eastern Conference, though, last night, we saw Milwaukee lose to Washington. Still open. Bob, in what ways are you reassessing the East now with the return of Embiid?
If you go to South Street in Philadelphia and order a cheesesteak at Pat's or Gino's, they ask you with or without. That means you want it with onions or without. Same thing with the 76ers fans now. Do you think you have a playoff chance of doing anything at all, with or without? Without, zero, none. Forget about it. But with, you have a right to say, hey, let's have some fun. Maybe we'll make some noise in the playoffs. He makes an enormous difference. Just look at the one loss with him, the one loss with, the one loss without. The one loss without is bad. He is a tremendous talent. He makes, I don't use that, I hate that phrase, makes other people better, but the team is better off with him. I'll just put it that way. And now Paul Reed goes back to his better role as a nice, serviceable backup. They got a superstar level almost in Maxey. Kelly Oubre Jr., where are all these points coming from? People in Washington are asking, right, Kev? And so they have a chance to be an interesting team with him.
Well, let me ask you this. The 2.5, 3 weeks left of the season, regular season. They're the 8th seed now. That's playing, but then the 8 versus the 1 would match up against your Boston Celtics, Bob. Do you think the Celtics are watching him say, come back, please, now. Get some wins now. Get out of the 8 spot.
He's dropped as many as 52 on them, and they know how damn good he is. And that would be a very intriguing first-round matchup for them. And that would be great. Basketball should welcome that matchup. Okay. Of course, you welcome any matchup involving him. He's a remarkably efficient player in the league.
KB, you reassessing the East now with Embiid back?
Absolutely. I mean, I was stunned to see him come back and look as good as he did last night in 29 minutes. Not only did he put up those other numbers, but he closed that game out. Free throws, I think he was 12 for 12 from the line, had a steal in that game, almost went coast to coast with it. So they are rejuvenated. He looks like the old Embiid that we last saw when he grabbed that knee. My only concern would be that knee brace. It looked like something that an offensive tackle would wear in the NFL. Man, that's a load to be carrying around, but he did it last night, and if he can get his stamina back, they are
Harry Lyles Jr., you're reassessing now? Are the Sixers right below the Celtics in the Eastern Conference, maybe ahead of Milwaukee, despite being the 8th seed?
I think maybe they could get there. I felt what you saw out of him last night. He gave you 24, 6, and 7 when he was clearly winded. And you could tell like his touch was a little bit off, but the fact that he was able to give you that game after missing the amount of time that he has missed, if you are every team basically not the Celtics, and even if you are the Celtics, you should probably be a little bit concerned depending on when you run into this team. Like if this is a team that is going to have 1 or 2 rounds of series before they get to Boston and he's able to get back into playing shape and get his rhythm back, then that becomes a much larger concern for them. But if you're anybody else in the Eastern Conference, like nobody else really scares you. So yes, if they have Embiid back when he is on the floor, it makes that team much more dangerous, even when he is at his form last night and he's going to get better.
Kimes, take away from Embiid's return last night.
Yeah. I mean, they are the prototypical team that nobody wants to play because that win total was artificially suppressed by Embiid's absence. And I think his return is huge, not just for seeding and the implications for the teams near the top, but also to give Embiid a chance to not only ramp up. As Harry said, he did look winded. He was below his averages in minutes, and it's going to take some time for him to get back to his usual conditioning, but also to give him time to play with his new teammates, Kyle Lowry, Buddy Hield, players who weren't on the Sixers when he went out. So the fact that he's getting these games before the postseason is invaluable.
We've been warned. We'll take a break right here and buy or sell. We're going to talk about a near quadruple double in the NBA last night. You know it was Victor Wembanyama. 4 quadruple doubles in NBA history. For points right now, anybody know any of the names?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt didn't have he would have had it, but he didn't have the blocks back then, KB.
David Robinson.
David Robinson is the most recent, 1994. Bob, why don't you just give us the remainder?
Hakeem Olajuwon?
Hakeem, Alvin Robertson, Nate Thurmond. Buy or sells next.
Ooh.
Gets over the Spurs last night. Now we watch a national panel ho-hum a 42-point game from Nikola Jokic because look at the line from Wembanyama. 23 points, 15 rebounds, 9 blocks, 8 assists. That's as close to a quad double as we've had in a while. The last one was 30 years ago. And look how he blocks Jokic here. It's like you would be blocking a 5-year-old in tic-tac-toe. Block, block, block. Bob, hot takeaway on Wembanyama. Go.
Hot take is that this is 21st century, folks, and we're seeing something we have never seen before. We've seen 7'4" guys who can make shots, block shots, and defend, but we've never seen one who can pass the way this guy does. Possesses a guard's floor vision to go with all the other attributes. And by the way, in his quadruple double, he shot 9 for 29, which means that he's not happy with that. He will work on that. Next year, you'll see an even better shooter, and it's a phenomenal thing that we're.
A follow-up, Bob. You've been tracking the growth of a teenager and a young, now 20-year-old, as he goes up and down, and wondering, well, what could the ceiling be if we're this close to a quad double now?
Well, the ceiling for this kid, a double cathedral ceiling. That's what we're talking about, folks. Something we've never seen before.
Kevin Blackistone on the Sistine Chapel of a night from Wembanyama.
The thing I love about him are the black shots. I mean, I know that he's that big and you expect that, but the fact of the matter is that makes your defense so much better. He's also a rim protector. He's blocking the shots of his guy, and he's also coming off his man to help you out at the rim and getting those shots blocked too. Defense, a lost art, a lost science in the NBA, not with this guy.
Harry Lyles Jr.
Tony, this was a beautiful collision of the standard of the present and the standard of the future. Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets are the standard bearers currently. Anybody winning a championship, it goes through them. And Victor Wembanyama didn't just do this against, again, the Hornets or anything like that, but he also did it against the Nuggets and without like half of his team on the court. So the fact that he was able to do something like this, we've seen his progression already throughout the year. He's only going to continue to get better. And even Greg Popovich said this was one of the most competitive games that I've ever been a part of, which typically I'd kind of just, whatever, ignore. But because he said it, I believe him.
Imagine you're a Hornets fan and you just tuck into a little around the horn and you catch a straight like that from Harry Lyles Jr. Mina Kimes, to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's telling that we didn't even show one of the coolest highlights of the game, which was Jokic's cross-court pass. Unbelievable. Broncos fans at home salivating, wondering why they don't have a guy on the roster.
Another stray. Unbelievable. That's actually funny, though.
You need to root for the Nuggets. You're lucky. No, but it just speaks to how amazing Wemby was. And honestly, the greatest compliment I can pay him is these stats, as amazing as they are, don't do the visuals justice. I mean, you saw the finger roll there. I've slowed that down so many times to try to understand the physics of it, and I still don't get it.
Bob, you called this 21st century basketball. This is 21st. This is 22nd century basketball. We'll move on. You people think you have tight deadlines? March Madness was still going on. LSU was eliminated 44 hours ago. The WNBA draft is 12 days from now. The deadline to declare was a couple days ago, 48 hours if you're just eliminated. So Angel Reese had a decision to make, telling Vogue in an interview that she did do last month that she will go pro. That's the news of the day this afternoon. Her college career ends with that crushing loss, that raw podium, and so many honors. She's projected at number 7 on the big board. Not every first-round pick guaranteed a roster spot in the WNBA, though. Harry, around the horn on Reese's decision and her pro prospects.
Honestly, I think it's an easier decision than a lot of people want to make it seem like. And it seems the one thing that people have a hold up with is the earnings piece of it, which is not an issue. Her NIL earnings were not at a collective base. They came from Amazon. They came from Beats by Dre. They came from Goldman Sachs. They came from all over the place. So those are going to follow her. Just because she goes pro does not mean companies mean, oh, well, we don't want anything to do with her anymore. That's not how this works. As far as being a pro player, she's going to be great. She's got the work ethic. She's got the skill. And when we're talking about players who have transferred to LSU to become superstars, Angel Reese is on Mount Rushmore next to Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see where you're going. But back to the WNBA prospects. Number 7 pick. There's 6 players right now ahead of her, and you have her as great in the WNBA. KB, I go to you.
Well, she's a grinder. I mean, she's a double-double machine. You know, she can average more points than she did, but she's with such a talented offensive team, she didn't have to. What did she do against Iowa when they lost? 20 rebounds. That's going to work. That's what she does every day. And she can block shots. She'll be a force on the block, and she'll be right here in Washington, D.C., playing for your Washington Mystics.
Oh, that's at number 6? You have her go. Are you breaking news here,
Absolutely.
Kevin? Is this your opinion?
Of course, this is a no-brainer. This isn't an
Talk me through
opinion.
it.
Della Don is not even playing here next year. She's taking the year off. Natasha Cloud is gone, a fan favorite. You obviously are going to draft her to bring her back home here, or just down the road from Baltimore, and where she played her collegiate career at the beginning at Maryland.
If, in fact, she is really the 7th best prospect projected, this is testimony to the further growth of the great growth of the women's game. That she will be a great player. She is a tremendous rebounder. There's no down, there's no yeah but with her skill, no question, or work ethic, anything else. So all I can say is if there are 6 better, wow.
Mina Kimes?
The WNBA is in good shape.
You know, your point, Tony, about the timeline and how quickly this is all happening, for me, it drives home what an unbelievable opportunity this is for the WNBA to build on the incredible momentum of this tournament. We're talking about Angel Reese as the 7th player. We are still watching some of the players ahead of her. Obviously, Caitlin Clark, Camila Cardoso, possibly going in the top 3 as well. So, yeah, right. So these players are becoming stars, and now they're going to go to the WNBA very soon, and I think there's a real opportunity here for the league to build on that.
Harry Lyles Jr. and Kevin Blackistone with his guarantee. Reese goes to the Mystics. Absolutely. Take a seat here. Times Ryan Showdown. Mina Kimes, Bob Ryan 1. When the bubble burst at Indiana State and Seton Hall, some wondered what would happen. How would they play? Boom! NIT final. Hey, Mean, did Indiana State and Seton Hall prove they should have been in the NCAA tournament with this run?
You know, Indiana State finished their season with a net rating of 29, which is the highest rating for a team to get snubbed from the tournament. And I think we're seeing why that was a snub. The offense has picked up right where they left off in the regular season. Another a game over 100 points. They've been electric.
Bob Ryan?
Seton Hall was 24 wins. They had 13-7 in the competitive conference. They beat UConn once.
Yeah.
That alone should have given them an entry. As far as Indiana State's concerned, yes, they should have given us Robbie Avila, but they needed one non-conference win that would have meant something. They didn't get
But
it.
the proof, you're seeing, they could have both won multiple games in this tournament. NC State is the proof of that. We'll move on. Showdown 2, Jared Allen really jacked up about drawing a 3-second violation in the paint versus the Jazz. I'm him. Bob, that reaction, too much, not enough, or just right for a 3-second call?
That's the most exuberance ever shown about a non-box score contribution by a player in NBA history. All right? Maybe he has a side bet with a teammate. I don't know. But it was a bit over the top.
Mina Kimes?
Well, speaking of bits, that's what this is. It's a bit. It's an extremely weird one that confuses everyone in its path, including announcers on opposite teams. That's why I love it, frankly, because it truly makes no sense.
He had done it last year, too. Bob, did I hear you right? This doesn't make it into a box score? That's not a turnover?
There's no category for violations caused. Seriously.
Maybe there should be. I'm a stat man. I said it. Jared Allen deserves some credit. So does Bob Ryan. 30 seconds.
In case you're wondering how baseball is faring in year 2 of its quest to speed up the game, let me give you some information. I have started 78 games since last Thursday. Of those 78, 65 have been played in under 3 hours. The longest game was a 12-inning game, 324. The longest 9-inning game was 304. The Red Sox and last night, listen to this. There were 9 games played under 230 and only 1 over 3 hours. Bravo, you guys are doing a great job.
We'll see you tomorrow.
I like the game.